You know, there are some people who are on like the FaceTime list where they can call you anytime and it's fine, but then there are other people who are on the no FaceTime list, and if they call you, it's like, how fucking dare you? Well, God was on Moses's FaceTime list. Welcome back to And God Was Like, Alma's weekly Torah portion series. I'm your host, Arielle Kaplan. Shemini Atzeret is a holiday, quote, characterized by utterly unbridled joy, which reaches its climax on Simchat Torah. In Israel, Shemini Atzeret is 1 day. In the diaspora, it's 2 days. The moon cycle is different in the diaspora and Israel, so the rabbis created a second diaspora festival day, Simchat Torah, the conclusion and restart of the annual Torah cycle. Woo. So to answer last week's question, why no one really gives a fuck about Shemini Atzeret, it's because the Torah is super cryptic about it. God commands Shmini, the 8th day of Sukkot, a sacred occasion, Atzeret. But what the fuck does Atzeret mean? No one really knows. The most appealing opinion comes from Samson Raphael Hirsch. He translates Atzeret to mean to gather or store up. And so we celebrate Shemini Atzeret because it's our last celebration before Hanukkah. We have to party our hearts out to store up all that energy for 2 months. Shemini Atzeret actually used to be the designated cleaning day for the temple. It was like huge chore day. It now just kind of marks like the first year's prayer for rain. On Shemini Atzeret, we don't really talk about Sukkot anymore, but we still eat in the sukkah, just like don't talk about it. Back to Simchat Torah, literally the joy of the Torah. We do more of those hafakot of going around in a circle with the Torah, and because Simchat Torah celebrates the end of the Torah cycle, we also start BERESHIT right after, so that is just always a circle and continuous loop. It's been a long time coming, y'all, but we are finally here. Chapter 33. Up until now, Moses has been giving a speech to the Israelites before he dies, but now he's like legit on his deathbed. And before he dies, he says a cute little something to every tribe. Usually Moses sandwiches compliments with like threats and bullying, but this is all just sweet. So he bids the tribes adieu. Moses says to Reuben, even though there aren't that many of them, I hope they live. This is the first tribe he says bye to, and it's also the worst goodbye. Judah is our little fighter group, and I pray that God helps them in war. To the tribe of Levi, take care of your mood rings. That's the Thummim and Urim, in case you forgot. To Benjamin, God loves you, B. It literally says that. To Joseph, your land, my sweet little lamb, is the best. Zebulun, you are fishermen who brings Issachar food so they can study Torah in their tents. And that's just a fact. To the tribe of Gad, y'all are my little lion tribe, because your trademark attack is slaying an enemy's head and his arm in one swift blow. Fun fact about me, Arielle means lion of God, which is why I have this. To the tribe of Dan, you guys are also little lions. Of Naphtali, you accepted all of God's gifts so graciously, and you're also fishermen. And lastly, to the tribe of Asher, you are God's favorite. I'm sorry, what? Aren't we not supposed to have favorite children? You have the most sons of everyone. Also dip your foot in oil. All the other tribes are like, why don't we get oil on our feet? Rashi commented on this and he was like, I don't know how Asher had so many children. Rashi, I think you know. Moses is all, there's no one like God. He's the shit, the tits, the best thing out there. Because of him, the children of Israel will live happy in a land of grain and wine, under heavens dripping with dew. God is trying to wine and dine us out here. Chapter 34. Moses climbs a mountain and he looks at the promised land. I really thought he was looking at the promised land this entire time, but perhaps it's not until now. And God was like, this is the land I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And in the words of Britney Spears, you can look, but don't touch. So Moses looks, he doesn't touch, and then God gives him a sweet little kiss on his mouth, and he dies in the land of Moab just outside Israel at 120 years of age. We have no idea where he's buried. The Israelites mourn Moshe Rabbeinu for 30 days, and even God cries. I've always thought when it's raining it means God's crying. Tears of joy, tears of happiness, menstrual tears, whatevs. Moses was the greatest prophet of Israel, and he was kind of God's best friend. At the end of the Torah cycle, we chant Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazeh. And the idea here, we're just constantly improving. And in the next Torah cycle, we'll learn more than what we learned in the last. Shabbat Shalom, and I'll see y'all next week.